Okay, we're at the end of another unit, ratios and proportions. So I'm going to review this packet, and you have the other one as practice. We're going to take the test, I think probably Thursday. Okay. So for the x variable, 9 over 2 equals x over 25. You can just cross multiply and divide this, okay? Because you have x to 2, 9 to 25, okay? Unlike this, okay? So 9 times 25. 225, and that's equal to 2 times x. So to find x, we'll divide by 2. Remember, this times this is equal to this times this. That's why you can just cross multiply and divide. 225 divided by 2, 112.5. A little bit unusual looking, but that's the right answer. Okay, that gravy train will not carry on the next one. Obviously, you're going to have to do more than just cross multiply and divide. Okay, so pick a diagonal, circle it, label that A and B. That's in the outside C and D. If you do the AB here, it'll do the same thing. Okay, so because I know that 3 times the expression x minus 4 is equal to 2 times the expression 3x plus 4. Okay. Now if you went AB here, it's the same thing. Okay, it doesn't matter. I try to keep it consistent in class. So I'm going to take the A times the B, and I know that that's equal to the C times the D. So A is going to be 3, B is going to be x minus 4, make that a plus negative, okay. C is going to be 2, apply a 1 there too so you can see what you're timesing. And then D is 3x plus 4. Okay, so with that plus I need to distribute the 3. So 3, first times 1x, then after the plus you times by negative 4. So that's 3x and negative 12. So when I line up the equals, I drop the plus down, and on this side I have 3x, this side I have negative 12. You can't add those because that has an x, that doesn't, but you can multiply. That's gone. Now let's repeat the process on the other side with the 2. Okay, here's my plus, 2 times 3x, 2 times 4. So it's going to give me 6x and 8. So 6x plus 8. Alright, now you got don't make your wall because you got x's on opposite sides. Get the smaller x to a 0. You can get that to a 0 as well. I just usually do the smaller one. So minus 3x, minus 3x. So I have negative 12 all by its lonesome, and over here you got 3x plus 8. Now I had some questions. You know, you guys eventually got it, but now I get the operations on the x side. You got a times 3 and a plus 8. Circle the times. You get rid of the plus 8. I know that's not the smaller of the two numbers, but that's on the side of the x. That's got the one that's got to go. So minus 8, minus 8. So I have 3 times x. Negative 12 minus 8 is negative 20. If you're at negative 12 and go backwards 8 on a number line, you're at negative 20. And then divide by the number that multiplies the x so that the x is by itself. Okay. Here, just line up the equals. X is on this side. You can put it over there. Negative 20 divided by 3. You can round that. If you don't like that answer, you go second. PRB equals negative 6 2/3. You can also write the decimal if you want. Okay, percentage sentences. Not really story problems, just sentences. What is 63% of 150? So there's a proportion you can use as long as you line your percent over 100%. And then is over of. So the percentage is 63. Now let's talk about the of. After of I see 150 and the is x. So 63 over 100 equals what over 150? Well, let's cross multiply and divide. 63 times 150. I'm able to find that product pretty easily. That's equal to 100 times x, so I divide by 100. I got 94.5. Don't put a percent sign on that because we have the percent. Okay, number 4, 150% of what number is 34? 100%. The percent lines up over that, and then is over of. So 150 is my percent. After of, it says what number. Cross out the 150 after you place it. After of, it says what number, so that means we don't know the of, and then 34. So I can find the product of 134. 100 times 34, 3,400. That's equal to 150 times x, so divide by 150. If you don't like that answer, you can go second PRB equals be 22 2/3. Now, if you don't have access to one of those calculators, you can. You're in the classroom, so you should. Okay. 100% percent is over of. Okay, this time I don't have my percent, so that's x. After of, it's 32, and is 40. So I should get a percent bigger than 100. I mean, 40 is bigger than 32. This percent should be bigger than 100. So 100 times 40, 4,000 equals 32 times x. So divide by 32, and we get a 125. Please put a percent label on that, and there you have it. Okay, similar triangles. Solve for x. The triangles are similar. That means the sides can be matched. Okay. So I'll start with the big one. Doesn't matter which one you start with, but 7.5 goes with 5. Equals, and then 18 goes with x. You could also go 5 over 7.5 and then x over 18. It doesn't really matter. So the product for between 5 and 18 is 90, and that equals 7.5 times x. So I divide by 7.5, I got 12. You can always check your answer. If you take 7.5 divided by 5 and then 18 divided by 12, you should get the same thing. That's your scale factor. Okay, but 12 is the answer I want. Convert 45 pounds to ounces. There's 16 ounces equals 1 pound. Okay, so in my proportions I put 16 ounces, 1 pound. And then I line the labels up the same order. Okay, so I'm converting 2 ounces. So ounces is my answer, and the pounds I clearly have 45. So 16 times 45, that's equal to 1 times x. You can divide by 1, but it's still 720. So x is 720 ounces. Okay, let's solve some story problems. Okay. By the way, on your paper you have this: games, goals. Games is x, goals is y, because that's hard to determine, x and y. Okay. Because it's goals scored within the game, so it's y within x. That's how I decided that. First 4 games of the season, a soccer team scored 10 goals. If this trend continues, how many goals will the team score in the remaining 18 games of the year? So remember it's y over x, so goals per game. Now the goals scored per game, it ain't 10, that's over 4 games. Per game means every single game. And so really I don't have that. Now I could really find it if somebody held a gun to my head, okay? But I don't think I'm going to need to, and here's why. If I make that table, X is game, put the labels so you don't mess them up. Games and goals. I'm going to put 0, but I'm not going to do 1, 2 because I don't have the goals per game. I'm going to block it, and then I'm going to start putting 4 games is with 10 goals. 18 games, that's what I'm trying to figure out. Now if you played 0 games, you score 0 goals. So the fact that these both begin at 0 like they do means don't make the line. Make a cross multiply and divide proportion. Now remember, it's the y over the x, okay? So y is goals, x is games. Should be the y label over the x label every time. Okay, so I know I scored 10 goals in 4 games. That says goals in games. and I've got 18 games, but I don't know how many goals. I'm going to put question mark. Actually, just pick a letter, okay? Put G, I guess. But I know 10 times 18 is equal to 4 times G. So 10 times 18 is 180 divided by 4 is 45. So 45 goals. Remember, align the labels. So always the Y over the X. Goals on top, games on bottom. Because it's goals per game. So the ratio has to be goals over games. Okay, number 10. That gets a little dead. Don't look at these tables I have up there. You guys are all smart enough. You can think. You can arrange it yourself. I can paint 3 statues in 20 minutes. My friend can paint 1 statue in 10 minutes. How long will it take us to paint 12 statues working together? Okay, so the units are statues and minutes. I did not make a box here because you should know how to label that X and Y. The time is the X, statues is the Y. So per statues per minute. Well, 3 statues is 20 minutes, and then my friend 1 in 10. I don't have a flipping clue what the statues per minute are. Now, I'm going to need 2 tables, though. One for me, one for my friend. So X is minutes. You got to label them so you don't put the numbers in the wrong place. Y is statues. We will not be doing the 0, 1, 2 because I don't have my statues per minute. So I go 0, block it. 0, block it. Okay, I'll come back up there and fill in the Y here in a bit. 3 statues, 20 minutes. Now my friend, he can do 1 statue in 10 minutes. Now, the 12 statues is working together. So 12 statues, question mark, minutes. Dude, if you don't paint for 0 minutes, I don't think you get any statues. Same with this guy. So there's no, I don't make lines, okay? Because there's no, the Y doesn't begin anywhere other than 0. So that allows me then to use proportions. But since there's 2 tables, you have to add a 3rd ratio into the proportion. Remember, it's Y over X. Statues is on top, minutes is on bottom, okay? Put it on this, statues, minutes. So there's me, I can do 3 in 20. There's my buddy, he can do 1 in 10. Now when we team up together, we have to get 12 statues and pick a variable, because you don't know that. You can use M if you want for minutes, or X, I don't care, okay? Now you have 12 over M or 12 over X, whatever you pick, but we need to add these 2 on this side. You can either do it old school and get common denominators, be 20 times 2 times 2, that'd be 2, so that'd be 5 over 20. Or you can add them on the calculator, 3ABC 20 plus 1ABC 10. Now if you're wondering, well, how come you got 5/20ths up here and that's 1/4? Well, 5, if you divide these both by 5, that's 1 over 4, okay? So 1 over 4. If you put 5 over 20, it's going to do the same thing. So 4 times 12 equal to 1 times M, divided by 1, you get 48. Now let's say I would have went with 5 and 20. Well, 20 times 12 divided by 5 is still 48, okay? Okay, 48 minutes together, okay? We're not going to be making boxes on these percent problems and these fraction problems. Right away, I know I can line that up, because 4 over 7 is a ratio. That's your ratio. Now, what's a fraction really? Well, it's total. Okay, let me read it first. 4/7 of all animals in the park were birds. If there were 200 birds, how many animals were there? So I've circled what you're going to label the top. You know the bottom's your total, okay? That's birds. And over here for the actual amounts, you got total and birds. Now the only actual amount I have is 200. Well, it flat out says 200 birds. So 200 birds, and I'm finding the total number of animals. So 7 times 200 divided by 4 is 350. So there would be 350 animals. You can put X equals. Okay, number 12. A racer has completed 5% of his race. There's that word of. Okay, you might want to put a. That tells you that you're going to set the 5% over 100% when it says of like that. He's completed 10 laps. How many laps does a race have? So it's kind of like this, but my 5% goes over 100%. Okay, because of means I can set up a cross, multiply, and divide. Now, just like here, the 100% your total. Now, 5% is defined by completed. Okay, so completed and total. Okay, 10 laps is the actual number. It goes somewhere here. Okay, well, it says he's completed 10 laps, so I put it here. Okay, and I need to find the total. So I take 100 times 10. I know that's equal to 5 times x, so divide by 5 is 200. So x equals 200 laps. Now, if that number is not completed, then we don't put it here. We would put it in the total, and I would find how many were completed. Okay, but if I'm going to find how many laps does a race have, I'm finding the total. Okay, number 13, a watch that used to cost $89.99 is marked up in price by 12%. It does not say of, so don't line it up over 100. Find the new price of the watch. Okay. Okay, marked up, that means plus 12%. It's not a percent of, so use that formula. Percent multiplied by before equals after. Okay, so my percent, I take 100% and add 12%. That's 112%. Move the decimal twice to the left, and the percentage is 1.12. Now, it says find the new price, so new and after mean the same thing. So I'm finding the after is my x. So the before amount was $89.99. Okay. So 1.12 times 89.99 and then x. Now, x is over here all by itself, so there's no operations I need to cancel out. I just multiply the other side. Okay, do the operation. So I take 1.12 times $89.99. You're talking a money amount, so we want 2 decimal places. It'd be $100.79. Okay, last one. 2 cars travel for the same amount of time. These are up there for a reason. You don't need all of them, but they're there. 2 cars travel the same amount of time. The first car travels 80 miles per hour. The second car travels 75 miles per hour. Faster car travels 40 miles further. Find the distance traveled by each car. Now, this is going to be a ratio, but we got to do a little more than just set up the lines. Okay, you need a chart. Okay, here's the speed. This is for the distance, and this is for the time. Okay, so you got fast and slow. There is a speeds are the miles per hour, so I got 80 miles per hour and 75 miles per hour. So that's your fast and your slow. Cross those out now, we know what they are. Distance is just miles without the per hour. Now it says a faster car travels 40 miles further. He didn't travel 40 miles, he just went 40 miles further than the slower car. That means the fast one I put a plus 40. Now what plus 40 I don't know, so x. But even better, this one can just be x by itself. Okay, I don't know the distances, I just know that one's 40 more. So I write them both in terms of x. Now the time, that's your hours. You don't know any, you know that they're the same, so you know they're equal. Now you also know that the time can be expressed as distance over speed. Okay, distance divided by speed. I don't actually divide, okay? Because for the distance I have x plus 40, and for the speed I have 80. Now I can't divide that because I don't know x, but at least I have an expression to represent it. And then x and 75. Then line those, set those two ratios equal. So x plus 40 over 80 equals x over 75. Okay, I think I'm going to need to use my A, B, C, D. Remember, A is to B, C times D. And then you set up your two parentheses on each side of an equation. So A times B is equal to C times D. So A is x plus 40. And then B is 75. C is x, D is 80. Now there's no plus over here, so you just write that as 80x, no distributing. Over here you got the plus, so you have to distribute 75 to each term. Okay, so 75 times 1x times 40. So x 75, and then 75 times 40, 3,000. Okay, so I line up the plus, and I've got 75x plus 3,000. Okay, you got x's on opposite sides. Let's get the smaller one to a 0. So I'm minus 75x. Come over to the other side, and that gives you 5x, and then 3,000. So x over here, operations times 5. So to solve the times, I need to divide. 3,000 divided by 5 is 600. Okay. Now come up here and replace those both with 600. So 600 plus 40 is 640 miles, okay? And then 600 miles here.